This video is going to be on Duolingo, ticker symbol DUOL. And unlike most of the other investors and YouTube influencers and finance bros that I see on the internet, I actually do not have as high a conviction in investing in this company as they do. Often I see most of the people online are actually very bullish of the company and they think that it's a really good growth play. But in my opinion, I think that it's a growth trap. So let's just look at the stock itself. As you can tell, it's dropped a lot since its high in May of $540 some. I think I hit a high of like 543, and it dropped to a low of $190 or so after its last earnings. Now you might be thinking, well, what happened in this earnings? Was it really, really bad? And contrary to that belief, it was actually pretty good. Looking at their earnings, $5.95 compared to 49 cents year-over-year comparison. Revenue, 41% increase year-over-year. Net income, almost 300 million. The one-time benefit, but this is still not bad. Daily active users up 36% year-over-year. Monthly active users, 135 million users. Paid subscribers, 11.5 million, exceeding expectations. So these numbers are all pretty good. So why is it that I don't have as high of a conviction as other people do in this stock? So to explain my reasoning, I want to bring up Peter Lynch's One Up on Wall Street, which is basically a book that talks about how even though institutional investors, they have a lot of advantages over retail. So for example, they just have more funds for marketing. Or for example, when they issue a short report, that short report will reach a lot more people than if just Joe Schmo or like someone like me, if I were to put a video or explain my reasoning as to why I think a company is short. So they just have access to more funds, they have access to more ways of getting their due diligence out in the public or out there. They also have access to venues like CNBC where they can talk about their reasoning and they can attract more people to believe or to see their point of view. But one of the ways so this book basically talks about how retail actually has a number of advantages over institutional investors. One of those examples is Peter Lynch talks about how one of his best investments was investing in a company that his wife actually just suggested him to invest in. I think it was a clothing brand, and he talked about how he wouldn't have even heard of this brand before, but then because his wife talked about how she saw a lot more people going to using this brand over the previous brand, then he invested in that company, and then it actually did really well. And I think it was bought out by some big company, but that's beside the point. So I think that it's really important to use this advantage as retail. Another example that he gives is basically, let's say you oftentimes you go to McDonald's, you go buy clothes at Gap or Lululemon or something like that, then you have boots on the ground research, you have first-hand experience, you have a first-hand point of view as to how the business is doing, that the people that are up in like New York skyscrapers looking at their numbers, looking at their spreadsheets and looking at earnings reports, they don't see maybe cracks on the wall, they don't see those blemishes that that the people that are actually doing, as I say before, boots on the ground research, what they see. So this brings me to why I don't have as high conviction in Duolingo as other people might have. So despite these numbers are still pretty high for a PE ratio, but when you factor in growth, they're actually not that bad. But I want to talk about this idea of a mission statement. So mission statement and how this is really important. So let's just look at SoFi's mission statement. SoFi's mission statement is getting your money right, I think. Tagline. Basically, SoFi, their tagline is get your money right. And you can see that based off of their products. So, for example, SoFi, they don't have events contracts. They don't have a lot of like sports betting and things like that because they want their customer to get their money right. And SoFi, you can see that they are actually continuing with that mission. They actually have that mission in mind when they do put out products, when they do decide how their business is going, the direction of their business, which is also one of the reasons why they were struggling a little bit with their credit card business, because a credit card business, that's class 101 of how to screw over your customer, right? You basically want your customer to take out too much, to spend more than they can, and get screwed over by paying those late fees, getting into credit card debt with those 20%, 30% interest rates. So that's an example of a company that is sticking to their mission statement. Another good mission statement we can look at is, let's look at Robinhood, right? Robinhood's mission statement is different from SoFi's, where it has nothing to do with getting your money right, but it is democratizing finance for all. And you can see that because they have so many products on their app, and they keep pushing out more and more, right? They're bringing out shorting now. They're bringing out these event contracts and all those things, basically all these alternative investing assets. So that's what Robinhood has, right? What I'm basically saying is that these two companies are successful in that they have a mission statement, and they're continuing, and they're pushing out products, and they're pushing their business in a direction, in a way that it brings them closer to fulfilling their mission statement. So what is Duolingo's mission statement? Their mission statement is, we're on a mission to bring free language education to the world. Their mission statement is to bring free language education to the world. Now, this is anecdotal, right? So you can't prove it, right? But when you use the app, I don't know if these people that have high conviction or that are very bullish on Duolingo have used the app, but if you've used the app, it just seems so, I don't want to say predatory, but it seems like they're trying to squeeze. It seems like, one, they don't care about the user actually trying to learn their language, and two, it doesn't seem like it seems like they're just trying to squeeze every last penny out of the user. So let me give you some examples. Number one, as a language learning app, how are you going to have, I don't have screenshots, I'm too lazy to have the screenshots, but they have a flag button for in case their lesson was wrong. Let me say that again. They have a flag button for the user who's trying to learn the language on this platform to tell the platform, hey, you have an error here. If you went to school, let's say you brought your toddler, your 5-year-old to school, and then the 5-year-old was in charge of correcting the teacher, would you have faith in that teacher? Would you have faith in that establishment? No, you would not. Okay, so the fact that they even had that flag button is kind of off already. But maybe it's, so I guess that's the main problem. That's one of the biggest problems with their transition to using AI. And you can't, you can't just rely on AI, right? And I think that when you have this and you're switching to AI, you're basically hoping that either one, your user doesn't, or your customer doesn't realize that what they're learning is wrong, or two, you're relying on them to correct the lesson plan. Something is wrong, and that kind of deviates from you teaching a language to someone. Does that make sense? Number two, they are a language learning app. What's the MVP? What's the minimal viable product of a language learning app? I think you have to have some lessons. And one of the core basic things you should have as a language learning app is flashcards. In Duolingo, their flashcards are set up behind a paywall. It's set up behind a paywall to use flashcards. Does that not sound ridiculous at all? Flashcards, the index cards, that's like the number one thing that you see everyone using when they're learning languages, and that's set up behind a paywall. Additionally, in my opinion, the only real thing that's keeping this number up, is a Snapchat streak. They're appealing to users' loss aversion by making it so that you want to log in every day and you just want to use the lesson and then bounce. I have friends so they have this on their app. They also have like a way to kind of place you on how high you or how proficient you are in a language. So let's just say that, how do I say this? Give me a second. Okay, I have an idea. Okay, so I have friends that have been on the app for more than 100 days. And you could say that their proficiency in the language that they're learning is dog poo poo. Like dog poo poo. And you didn't learn anything. There may be like 1.5 steps away from not knowing the language at all. So people are using their app. They're not on the app to learn a language. They're on the app to kind of just show you, hey, look, I have this streak and it's going higher and higher. The problem with that is the moment someone, let's say you go on vacation and then you missed out on a day, right? So your streak ends. This drops, right? As more and more people don't really care, either don't care about the streak anymore, or like it just goes out, it just fades out. Or when people, as soon as an active user that's only there for this, like to fulfill their loss aversion and to not lose that streak, as soon as they hit they went traveling, they forgot one day, and then they lose that streak, they're gonna go bye-bye. They're not there to learn the app. They're not there to learn the language. They're just gonna leave. Right? And what's the point in that? Again, as I said before, their mission statement doesn't match what they are actually, it doesn't match their actual product that they produced. And when you have that mismatch, then oftentimes users just go to somewhere else, right? Maybe right now maybe Duolingo is just popular, so a lot of their friends are using it. Maybe it's just the most, I don't know, currently it's the best one to use. But because I just feel like their product is so I don't want to use the word predatory, but so like not, that just doesn't match their mission statement, then that leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. And that's kind of why I see this drop. I mean, maybe you could say it like this drop was unwarranted given the current numbers, but I just don't see how they won't get replaced if they continue on this trajectory. And maybe they'll switch it up, right? They are doing a lot of A/B testing. They are working on those things, right? And I don't see, like, there's the bear case that I don't subscribe to, which is, because there's AI translation services, then Duolingo's entire product is mute. It's useless. That's the same thing as saying, why are people learning piano when you have synthesizers, when you can just use AI music. People learn piano, people learn languages because it's cool, because they think it's fun, because they think it's interesting. They want to learn about the language, they want to learn about the culture. Yeah, some people are learning the language in order to communicate, but you could have always just thrown stuff into Google Translate, even back in like 2010, and then translated your language to the language you wanted to. But what Duolingo is, like, what language learning is for, isn't for that. It isn't solely for that. It's sometimes just for people to learn a language. Maybe their significant other, they're from their home language is something different. Their mother tongue is something different, and you want to learn that to better communicate with your in-laws, right? Just showing a translation on a screen isn't gonna help you connect as much as actually talking to them, right? So I don't subscribe to that bear case, but I subscribe to the bear case that their product in itself isn't doing this. It isn't providing free language to the world, or free language education to the world. Because the most core basic products that, or I guess features of a language learning app are hidden behind a paywall. Okay? And especially now, like, I don't understand how the customer, or I guess I'm just ranting about the app now, but I don't understand how management doesn't see that when you have an energy system where you're basically limited how many courses you can, or how many lessons you can take per day, well, then people are gonna use it for 2 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and they're gonna be like, I ran out of energy, better learn tomorrow. Is that how you learn languages? Come on. All the good language learning thingies, all the features are hidden behind a paywall, like live chatting with an AI. Again, if you're focusing too much on AI and they have hallucinations, they have problems, right? you the person learning the language isn't going to correct you because they don't know the correct answer. Okay, so again, this is a conviction. Like, this is my conviction. I don't like the product, and because it's a bad product, why am I investing in it? Why are you investing? Like, even if the numbers are good, why would you invest in a product that you don't think is sufficient enough to do what it promises? Those are just my thoughts on Duolingo. Check us out with DUOL. Tell me what you think, and let me know if you've actually used the app and whether or not you like the app. Or maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. Those are my opinions. Peace.